Oh, yeah. For the 99 and 2000s. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Let him cook.
First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Man,
Live at 85.
Live at 85, boss.
Check us out, man. All systems go this early in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll take it. Right on, right on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's just get on in it. Let's just get it fired up, man.
Get on in it.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, thanks for joining us on this Friday, April 26th, 2024.
Everybody.
Springtime. Springtime is here.
Yeah, I was talking to Mama God. She was telling me it's been pretty nice out there in the Omahas.
Well, it's been nice as far as the temperature is concerned, but it's rainy and supposed to rain all day today till tomorrow. We're in storm watch. There might be a tornado tonight. So we got that part of the spring.
Man,
I'll be honest. I'll take it.
Really?
more than the winter time, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's not too bad, it'd be, maybe one of those kind of days where you can crack a window, get the soothing raindrops,
the mundo,
play some black classical.
See, you know what I'm talking about.
You get the drunkenship going. Yeah, I know the vibes. Yeah, I don't know why I keep calling it drunkenship. We're doing a remix.
Yeah,
drunkship. Shout out.
Well, there is plans for drunk. Speaking of drunkship, they are a sponsor for the show today. So shout out to Drunkship Coffee. You can go to drunkshipcoffee and .com and get your beans. They source from a one singular farm in Ethiopia, the birthplace of coffee. So get your grinders ready and order your Drunkship coffee. Go to drunkshipcoffee.com. We will have the we keep on threatening this giveaway, and we're going to do it on Monday. So we got a good plan for it now, and we're going to fire it up Monday, and you'll be able to experience a couple free bags, hopefully. So
shout out to everybody who's going ahead and just purchase. Like, hey, forget y'all take it too long. I'm trying to get my drunk shit.
We ain't waiting on this free. Yeah, appreciate y'all. Looks like a whole bunch of people up this morning. Appreciate that very much. Shout out to the 630 crew as well. Let us know how the mix was this morning. On firstguyomaha.com, hit the listen button, or ask your Amazon Alexa to play First Guy Omaha Radio. And got some new tracks on there, some good stuff. So check it out. It's a celebration of black music.
Celebration.
And of course, if you can't sit here and chat chime with us on YouTube or Facebook, you can always go to firstguyomaha.com, hit the listen button, and listen to the show on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So right on. Everybody's up. I see Tommy Johnson gives us some sunshine. Appreciate that. Good morning. Pop says good morning. Good Friday morning, First Guy, and mad love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pop.
Vegas been calling my name. Just had NAB go down, man.
I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, everybody was there. Bill King, Stable Gray, Weberized. All the fam was there except us. We got to do better. Judy Priller says a happy stormy Friday, fam. Yeah, I'm kind of digging this. I ain't gonna do nothing but stay inside, but I kind of dig that this storming outside a little bit. Okay. I ain't wishing for the tornadoes, but we'll see.
That's usually like out. Yeah, hopefully everybody's all right with it. Yeah.
We'll see. We're under high. What is it? Intense weather watch. I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Leia Keister got. I'm gonna let you tackle this one right here.
Okay.
It's your turn. Me.
Leia Keister in the chat. Go ahead and put it on the screen so they can see what we. Yeah. Happy Friday. Yay. Hit me, yo. Yay. I think I slaughtered that one. I don't know.
Pretty good. The timing was a little rough, but you got through it. You got through it.
Happy Friday. Yay. Yippee yo yo, yay yay yay.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Ice Cube.
One thing Leg Keister is happy about is a Friday. I can tell you that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What you got going on? Anything goings down this weekend? Let us know. Well,
Yeah,
as always, we'll try to get into some haps. We'll see.
oh, we getting into some haps. We gonna threaten an extensive haps, and then we'll see where we at. When we get there. Michelle Moreno gives us a good morning. Black Dynamite says top of the morning, y'all. Kimber Snipes gives
Hey,
us a good morning, y'all. Wanda Lewis gives us a good morning, y'all.
hey.
Appreciate it. Facebook and YouTube working. So yeah, please share the show, especially on Facebook. Anthony Rogers right in the chat. Good morning. Much to discuss soon, family. The concept of environmental justice in Omaha just got colonized, and the people best be ready for what's coming. Hear
Mm.
about this?
Okay.
Yep, yep. Kimmer says my window's open now. I love a storm. I use the storm sounds at night when I'm sleeping. Same here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Put it on for my baby girls.
Yeah, man. Hey, I will say this though: Nebraska I don't know what they will be going on with this. They be threatening the storm, and they be passing so fast. She'd be like, "Look, don't be
Oh yeah.
threatening the storm and then don't deliver for longer than 5 minutes."
Oh yeah. Yeah. You blink, you might. It's bipolar weather, man.
Iowa have it 15 minutes after it come through here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
right. Marlon Harrison says, "Happy Feel Good Friday, First Sky family." He got some
Okay.
good ones too. Yeah,
Yeah.
wealth, health. What do you say on Wednesday?
Wellness Wednesday.
And now Happy Feel Good Friday. I like it.
Okay. Okay.
Rose Review says, "Never on Sunday. Monday's too soon. Tuesday and Wednesday just won't do.
Hey.
Thursday and Friday when weekend begin." Go
Hey.
ahead with you be bringing back the '80s lyrics too, not just the lyrics,
Man.
but the '80s lyrics.
Man.
Yeah, that's
Might
what's
need
up.
might need a playlist from you, Mayor.
Man, there you go. Pop says, "I love Omaha rain." Yeah, like I said, only lasts like 15 minutes though. I'd be like, "Can it rain a little longer?" So we'll
Hmm.
see. They said it's gonna rain all the way to like lunchtime tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see. Amy H, no doubt in the chat. What's going on, Amy Holmes? She says, "Happy Friday, all. Appreciate you."
Hey.
Like Casey gave you a round of applause for your performance, buddy. Yes, yes. Mama God
Hurrah,
says, "Good
hurrah.
morning, First Guy fam." Kimber says, "Right, Paul. It'll be 5 minutes
Man.
in here." I'd be like, "Come on, rain a little bit more."
And
Uh,
then it'd be 90 degrees outside. Humid.
yeah, it's supposed to be 77 while the storm is going on. So I'm
See,
just,
see, it's just imagine when the rain subsides, it's gonna that humidity gonna kick it up
I don't like it. I'm moving back near the beach.
right near the beach.
Tired of this weather. Tamika Johnson said, "It rains just long enough to change your plans."
Just when you get comfortable, turn on that Netflix at the crib, it's just like could have went outside.
Yep, like that. I said, funny thing, Paul started reading it, which turned into singing.
Hmm.
Can't
Hmm.
help it. Can't
Yeah,
help it.
once you catch the groove, sometimes it takes them a little while.
I be
But
trying to. I hear it in the beginning. I just don't want to sing it. I'm trying to
no,
just read it,
okay, but
but
you
it
can't
just.
resist, huh?
And it's Sunday, Monday,
Hey,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You know what I'm saying?
hey.
Come
Although
on,
today is Friday.
it is. Yippee yay! It's
Yeah,
Friday,
yo
so
yo
appreciate.
yay,
Say again.
yo yo yay.
Oh, yo, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. Got you.
yeah. Let's get started, man.
Yeah, let's get going, man. I appreciate everybody joining in with a fresh edition of First Guy Omaha in the morning happening
In the
right now.
morning.
Stepped all over your line again. My
That's
bad,
good.
my bad, my bad. Let's get it rolling.
Hey, let's start the show.
Welcome back. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio. First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd.
Hey,
I will
try to
never
catch you
buy
slipping.
stock in Restream.
try, try to catch you slipping.
Man,
Try to get you.
excuse the cough. Usually when the video plays, your mic goes mute, but not with the new update. So now, yeah. Now we know. Could have said something crazy while the intro's going on.
Man, luckily we just be jamming, getting ourselves together, getting ready. But I'm sure
Yeah,
nobody even heard the cough. But
I'm sure they
this
did. They'd be paying attention.
let us know. I don't know. Let us know if you heard the cough during the intro. That
Yeah,
that, that
I
was a
had a
little
feeling
nice.
it might happen, so I tried to cough on beat, so at least it sounded like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh,
Man, the
it is
things behind the scenes, man.
it is Friday, and thanks for bearing with us through all everything. We appreciate you joining us
Man.
early and giving us the good mornings. We definitely have a special guest coming on, somebody we ain't talked to in a minute. See, look, Tamika Johnson said, "Sure did." I told you. I tried to do it on beat though. Look, look. He said maybe they didn't. Everybody said I heard it.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it.
Yeah, as soon as it
That's
happened, it
hilarious.
rang in my ear a little differently, and I was like, "Oh, I bet the mic's
Hmm.
hot." So then I
Yeah.
pulled up the private chat to ask Buddy, and he was like, "Mic hot."
Try to catch my guy slipping.
Man, yeah, it's a good thing you didn't hear the.
Yeah, good thing we actually love our chat. We're talking crazy about y'all.
Could have been anything. Could have been the,
Man.
the flabbergastics in the skibbity pack. Y'all know you know. Thanks for joining us. Chris Baby Boy Bowling is going to be on the show today.
Baby boy.
Can't wait to have him on, man. He is he's beatboxing. He said, yeah. It's about time we have Baby Boy back. Hasn't been on for a while. You know, he's been over at Flat Water Free Press,
Man.
which is a very good look for them,
Yeah.
especially for the black community. He's got the respect of the black community in the way that he does his stories and deep dives. He hit us up the other day, as a matter of fact, and asked some questions about some other things that's going on, seeking some advice. So, he's one of our favorite people a journalist of integrity, and can't wait to have him on and talk about his latest article in Flatwater Free Press. Definitely concerned your take on those subjects. We'll talk about them in a minute, and then we got an extensive episode later on today. Of course, this is Friday. Lots going on this weekend. Benson Film Festival is happening. The Visible's playing again on Sunday. If you didn't get
Hey,
a chance to see that movie, check it out at the Benson Film Festival at the Benson Theater.
man.
So yeah, lots going on this weekend. We'll definitely get into it and talk about it. But first, before we get there, we kind of clowned all morning long, but I didn't get a chance to ask you how you doing, buddy? How you feeling?
Man, I'm good to be here. I'm glad to be here. It's always these labs are always a welcome, a great way to start the day. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
That's what's up.
I'm excited. Looking forward to speaking to Baby Boy. It has been a little minute. Definitely still doing the good work. And yeah, it's gonna be some laughs. Might be some cries. You never know on today, man. We'll see where the day goes, man. But definitely big shout out to everybody who's in attendance with us right now.
Yeah,
I did want to say before we get started, I did want to say big shout out to everybody who's been like getting active, man. Like
this is
again, last episode we had, man, there are people making phone calls, people sending emails, people, sending calls out to the community. I'm seeing, this is man, I really appreciate y'all, and y'all are really picking up the mantle, as far as what it is that we're trying to do here with First Guy Omaha. And that motivates us to do more. You know what I mean? Like that's inspiring to see how things are working. And just keep pushing, y'all. Let's
yeah.
yeah, let's keep building.
Yeah, shout out especially to Kimmer Snipes. She hit us up with a text saying that she reached out to some folks. The show last Wednesday really stuck with her. I know
Man,
it was a tear jerker for all of us.
man.
Shout out to the Lee family who's dealing with what they're dealing with over there in the Underwood Towers, and we'll definitely have them back to speak more on it. But yeah, when I think about like what I envision for this show is to have those kinds of deep dive conversations, feel what's going on with the brothers and sisters in our community, and actually take some action on it. So, like I say, we have the best chat in the world. It's not just people that are in here just to pontificate and say what they want to say and do what they want to do, but people that are actually in caring about the community and putting boots to the roots, taking action during the show. We kind of started this at Mind and Soul. As a matter of fact, when we used to have call-ins, when you can pick up the phone and call us, or we can call out. There was a couple times that we got mad about something and called somebody. I remember Buddy picked up the phone, called the mayor's office or something during the show.
Man. I
Remember
mean,
that?
yeah.
Yeah, so I like the fact that there's action items and stuff going on during the show, and yeah, let's continue some of that. If y'all feel the spirit and it's something that we can do, we'll do that. And we're working on getting the phone line back on too, so maybe we can even do that. Call somebody on the spot, see what their office got to say about a thing. So yeah, we'll figure it out. But appreciate everybody that joined us on Wednesday. If you missed that show, please definitely go back and watch. It was our first 3 hour show. First of all,
Man.
y'all been asking for it. We did 3 hours on Wednesday, and it was because brother Hassani Lee, who's taking care of his father over there in the Underwood Towers, wanted to come on and talk about his fight with OHA and everything that's been going on, and nobody's really giving him the time to be able to tell that story in media. And even though the media has been at some of these incidences that's been happening at the towers, everybody says that they would bring their cameras and interview him, and then be waiting on the news, and we don't see much.
Man.
So we got a chance to talk to him and let him tell his whole story. I definitely encourage you to go back to the Wednesday show on YouTube and check it out.
Actually, let somebody in the chat tell it. We didn't really acknowledge it, but I saw it last episode. One of you chat chimers had mentioned when the news was out there and there was somebody being taken out on a stretcher, and like the news was trying to maneuver to not, catch it. Like, hey, if you're gonna tell the whole story, tell the story. Catch the vibe. See, tell the people what's going on out there.
Can you imagine being a newscaster and you're standing at the towers and you're interviewing somebody, and right next to you somebody's getting hauled out on a stretcher for exactly the same conditions that you're talking to your subject about,
And
and
you
you
trying to
just pass it by? I don't know.
not just pass it by. They said that they were deliberately trying to maneuver around it to like, oh,
I
we're
mean,
gonna
you got to
catch
give
this
somebody
angle.
some privacy here to let they might not want to be on camera getting pulled out on a stretcher, but
Mm-hmm.
at least pursue it. You
Ask some
know,
questions.
news gang.
Listen,
Brooke says I'm up and ready to do some AM teaching at North. Okay,
hey,
I'm glad to hear that you're doing that. She said, "Good morning, love you."
these
Yes, we heard the cough. Okay.
yeah.
Anyways,
See, you're supposed to do your me's. That's why she give us the happy Friday. You be so you get all that out.
man, look, I try to. I usually do all that so that when the intro hits, then I can do some more. Not, I guess not
Yeah,
anymore.
see,
So
they try to catch you slipping.
Brooke said, drinking some Dunkin' coffee. It tastes nasty after drinking drunk ship.
So
can't do Dunkin' anymore.
hey, so that's I think what Tamika Johnson said other coffee is beneath her now. So look, y'all, that's something else. If y'all haven't noticed, we not just try to put y'all on to the the conversation and facilitate that, and to help cultivate this economy and this community that all of us are a part of. And I love it. I see brother Anthony Rogers Rice saying let's keep it going. But on top of that, try to put y'all on to some sauce, man. Again, this ain't just any regular coffee. Like we're gonna have to have like an Ethiopian coffee ceremony when I get there, man. At some point in time, you know what I'm saying? Y'all got to pick up the vibes. Y'all got to pick up the vibes.
That's real.
Yeah, this ain't just any regular coffee. You got to get your grinder. You got to grind it yourself. It's pinky's up.
Right, all the stuff we learned about it is coffee originating in Ethiopia. How Italians came and committed kind of a genocide and then stole the whole scene. And
Man,
yeah, and that's why you get cappuccinos and espressos and stuff today. But yeah, it's interesting history, and I'm proud of the fam for getting into it. We're gonna go ahead and jump into some stories before we get our special guest in. But before we do that, I'm seeing more in the chat here. I see Anthony Rogers Rice says much love to that family, talking about Brother Lee's family.
yeah.
He said, but let's not just limit it to one show, y'all. We need to continue to turn up the heat and not let the white supremacists at OHA or City Hall get away with what's happening. We are chat chimers, but we are not just keyboard warriors.
There
Exactly.
you go.
Exactly, bro.
Exactly.
That's the power. So and trust me, when I'm going around talking to people about what it is we do, that's what we talk about. We don't have a whole lot of numbers because we don't really appeal to the masses. We've never been trying to do that. We've been trying to appeal to like-minded individuals that are about action and doing something in our community. So no, we never looking for keyboard warriors as people chiming up in the chat. That's why we make a distinction. Chat chimers. There's something behind that name. And I appreciate it. You guys have helped build all that, so thank you.
Man.
But like Dynamite said, I got a really important phone call during that interview, so I missed the ending of it. I was kind of bummed out. Yeah, go back and check it out, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Definitely,
there'll be
definitely.
more conversation. And yeah, it was all the way up to the end. Yeah, go back and
Yeah,
check it out.
we're gonna pull it out. We're gonna pull that interview out so you'll be able
Hmm.
to get to it a little easier as well. Tamika Johnson said, "I was disappointed in all the local channels because they took a lot of footage, testimony, and did not air any of it."
Really?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's giving that brother the time like we did Wednesday, for real. Rose Reviews gave us a little update on the fact that we got 3 new subscribers on YouTube. Appreciate that very much.
Nice,
He
nice.
says, "I'm wondering if the EMTs can give an unbiased opinion on the rooms that they have seen." There's a lot of people we can reach out to that's been in those rooms, and it's a good question. I wonder if they can give an unbiased assessment, and see. We'll see. Kimber is talking about she met George Achilles from Burlington Capital this week. Okay, can't wait to hear that. Kimber says everyone ain't a upstander. That's something we got to recognize. Okay, I feel the story coming from you on this. So shout out to the work that Kimber does. Shout out to the work that Anthony Rogers Wright does. Of course, he's on Dr. Cornell West campaign. He's
Hmm.
one of the campaign managers there. Cornell brother West is still running for 2024. He's running for president. So keep that in mind. I've been seeing a lot of articles, a lot of news out there of people that are deciding they're not going to vote for either. A lot of black folks talking that stuff. So I'm talking about Biden and Trump. So here's an alternative brother who's actually about something running.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a can't forget this is election season. Can't forget this is election season. It's coming up. Primaries coming up. Lots of stuff happening, and we got to keep up with it all for sure. So yeah, with that said, we're gonna get going. As a matter of fact, I'll throw this up right now too, brother Senator Terrell McKinney, who we'll be speaking to on Monday. He's got his campaign up for the people. Reelect Terrell McKinney, Legislative District 11. Vote on May 14th is the date. So he's
There you
already
go.
got his graphic up on that.
Yep.
Those of you
Right.
that saying it
I'm just gonna say, just reminding the people that the primary is right around the corner.
big time.
It's that time. It's that time.
Speaking of which, there was a meeting that I heard about that happened. It might have been yesterday or day before, where I guess it was the
Yeah.
candidates got together to speak.
So actually, I was on the phone with Mama God. She went.
Okay,
Mama God. If you're in the chat, if you want to drop a little information, in there,
right,
yeah, let
yeah.
us know.
What I saw on the flyer was it was going to be Senator Terrell McKinney, a former Senator Ernie Chambers. There was some other people on the flyer. I didn't even look past that. I was just thinking, okay, so everybody in the same room and they having a discussion.
Yeah.
This was I went down at Big Mama's kitchen,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
so people can kind of hear what was going on from the constituents. So we're in full swing as far as campaigns are concerned right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And people have been putting out ads. It's going. It's going. But according to Mama God, yeah, I think former Senator Ernie Chambers was not there. She says it was just
Oh,
Terrell McKinney, and it was very sparse too. It wasn't a lot of turnout. I think she said it was
right,
only like 12 or so people. So yeah, yeah. Again, Mama God, you went. So this is all secondhand information that I got from you, but it'd be nice to get firsthand if you want to drop some things in the chat.
right. There you go. Anthony Rogers Wright says the McKinney Chambers race just took a massive new turn. An announcement was made yesterday that may change the outcome of the race.
Hmm.
See?
Okay. Missed that. If you want to
Yeah,
spill the beans, what was the
yeah.
announcement?
Let us know. You gave us the teaser. Let us know. Yeah, it was the. She says that was poorly circulated. Yeah, we didn't hear anything about it, and
Mm.
it was a meeting that came up pretty fast. Plus, I wouldn't really expect a lot of turnout, to be honest. But yeah, not especially not the way that went down like that. I think they needed more notice, a little more fanfare on it. But I think people already got kind of their minds made up when it comes to this race. But now
Yeah.
I'm interested about what Anthony Rogers Wright got to say about this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
What was the announcement, Anthony?
Mhm.
Since you mentioned it.
Right on. Also, a little earlier in the chat, he said, "Yep," and we are going to be talking about him and brother Cornell West. Be showing more solidarity with the fascism happening on campuses. Buddy's hometown proved why we need much more than police reform. Students are being attacked by racist cops and stormtroopers. Those students are babies being beaten up for speaking out.
Man,
You talking about
so
out in Atlanta?
yeah, so on that note, one brother Anthony, I'm actually from Omaha.
Hmm.
Got it tatted. North side
North
till I
side,
die.
baby.
Yeah, north side, baby. North side, baby. It's in me, not on me. Well, actually, it's on me too. But
You can't
but
have me
yes,
wrong.
yes, yes. On a serious note, that was I did catch winter for anybody who did not hear about that. Would like to take time to draw some attention to it and send man prayers, lights, love, condolences, and I mean no one died, but very tragic situation. Police basically shut down a peaceful protest at Emory University. Students and community members were banding together to protest what was going on in Palestine and showing solidarity with the Palestinians who are dealing with bombardments.
Mm,
Um, and especially in light of if you heard President Biden signing the Israel ban or Israel bill to send billions to Israel.
mm.
But yeah, man, someone who was arrested got tased, students got tear gassed. It was pretty oppressive, pretty Jim Crow Gestapo type style.
Mm,
So and again, this was at Emory University. This was a peaceful protest at a university that was violently shut down by the police, and also
that's
in showing um protests against Cop City because again the connection is that Cop City is in I would say cahoots as far as the training aspect of the Israeli police force. So again, they kind of share tactics.
wild,
Yeah.
wild.
Yep. Which is in line with what we'll be talking about today. As
Yeah.
far as what's going on with the Omaha police. Again, we have Chris Baby Boy Bowling coming on. I guess we haven't really dropped that. We're about 30 minutes into the show, so at least we can talk about what it is that we will be actually talking about
Hey, it's
today.
Friday.
Because again, yeah, hey, yeah, it's Friday, and I'm enjoying the laughs. But we do, all of this is also what we do here on First Sky as well. And yeah, man, we got to talk about the police, man, and
Yeah.
that's what today is kind of about. Again, shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling dropping the new article 0 for 63, talking about again the police's lack of again no case in which the citizens have made a complaint has the police actually sided with them. It's always going to the side of the police, and that's not a surprise. But again, 0 for 63 is a headline from Chris Baby Boy Bowling that's coming out of Flatwater Free Press. Also, Nebraska, or Omaha World Herald has dropped two articles talking about Native American deaths at the hands of the police. And again, this is all coming on the heels of the report from the grand jury recently about saying that a lot of these deaths that are happening within police custody are behind bars, especially like the Omaha Community Center, where there's been several deaths recently. All of these need to be looked at with a little more scrutiny. Again, what is going on with the police? So yeah, that's definitely a conversation that's going to be happening today. Also, this is something I want to get into today, but we'll see how the day goes, especially within like with some of these conversations and our guests coming up. But again, we did have Brother Hassani Lee on Wednesday, and if you missed that interview, definitely go back and check that out on Facebook and YouTube. But again, that's OHA, that's public housing, that's the city. What about private? What's going on with the private situation? Flatwater Free Press has an article out talking about Vinebrook and some of the moves that they're making recently. Again, if you're not familiar, Vinebrook is the Ohio-based real estate company that's purchasing large swaths of land in the Midwest. So again, about 3,800 homes owned by this company between Kansas City, Omaha, and St. Louis alone. So again, thousands and thousands of homes owned by this one company, and they're impacting in very similar situations to what we're seeing with public housing. So again, housing, police. So we're talking about today. As always, if there's anything that's happening in your world, anything that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that in the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. In the meantime, between time, Paul B.
Yo,
What's
yo.
the word?
Man, in the chat, brother Anthony Rogers Wright, he says when we were talking about Senator McKinney's that race, he said talk to Senator McKinney on Monday. He has a new job with a problematic nonprofit.
Hmm.
So we'll see, and it kind of feels like that's going to turn the tide on the election. All right, that's heavy. That's a heavy statement. So we'll
Man.
definitely see what's going on with that, and speak to him on Monday, and also Senator Wayne going to be speaking to him as well on a few things. I appreciate that. Marianne Williams says Atlanta PD roughed up and arrested faculty too, even
Yeah, man.
department heads.
Yeah, man.
Down.
Tear gas the sister priest.
Oh man.
Yeah, man, she was out there with the collar on and everything, man. She, yeah. It was
Tear
not a
gas.
good look. It was not a good look.
Crazy. Marlon Harris in the chat said, I didn't hear about Emory protests. I heard it's going down in Caltech in Columbia. That's what I was thinking too. Is that there's protests. They're protesting all over the place. This is the equivalent of like how they used to protest Vietnam.
Mm.
They're making that parallel now
Mm-hmm.
because of
Accident.
how many colleges are coming up. Yeah, so this is
Accident.
getting pretty deep, and
I
I
mean,
want the
you
genocide.
and this kind of goes into a whole side conversation about what we always talk about as far as democracy voting. I think one of the chat chimers mentioned it is an election year. And you got to remember those same college students. This is something I was thinking about the other day. Those same college students are the same high school students that were walking out during George Floyd.
2020, bro.
And these are going to be the same ones running for office in the future. So again, us as voters, us as community members, us as community builders, it's upon us to start finding those people, cultivating future leaders. Now is the time. If we really want to see change, we got to be the change or help cultivate the change. So again, big shout out to everybody who's taking it upon themselves to see these conversations, hear these conversations, and engage in these conversations, and then take it to the streets and make phone calls. Put pressure on people. Actually try to make change. So big shout out to those students. Big shout out to all of you. And yeah.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. Maybe we can set that story up. We got a special guest, Baby Boy Bowling, coming in just about 10 minutes. So
Okay.
shout out to him, and I can't wait to hear from him. But yeah, whatever you want to get into first before we get there. Let's
Well,
do
I
it.
mean, if we only have about 10 minutes, we can go ahead and definitely kind of tee up this story and really dive into what's going on with the again Flatwater Free Press article 0 for 63. Again, shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling. Again, Omaha police officer Jeffrey Vaughn stepped out on I-80 near Gretna on Mile June 2020 day. Big shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling for his writing style. So definitely check this out. But at the heart of it, again, in the past decade, Omaha police haven't sided with any citizen who formally complained of bias. Again, any citizen who formally complained of bias. Data analyzed by Flatwater Free Press shows that Omaha police side with formal citizen complaints nearly 20% of the time, but never if those complaints are regarding alleged police bias or discrimination. So again, any complaints against the police goes unheard. Who's policing the police? Basically, is the same question. Again, 63 times in the past decade, a citizen who made a formal complaint to the police department alleging they were the victim of bias policing or discrimination during an encounter with the OPD officer. 63 times the department dismissed those cases, never siding with the complaint. Police officials argue that this statistic reflects the Omaha Police Department's good work. Again, several times in recent years, the Omaha Police Department has been propped as kind of the national standard, the golden standard of policing, and this reflects in their handling of these complaints. But experts, according to this article, including a former U.S. Justice Department leader, doubt that claim, suggesting that many police departments aren't good at investigating bias, particularly when there's no independent oversight. While police didn't side with Settles, who was again shot in her complaint, and the city of Omaha did pay her $42,000 to settle a lawsuit she later filed. That's one of four settlements totaling $700,000 that the city has paid out in cases where police bias or discrimination played some part in the allegations. Again, in a written response, OPD Deputy Chief Anna Cologne outlined the steps the department takes to prevent biased or discriminatory policing. During investigations, body worn cameras, of course, provide clear evidence, as she says, erasing any doubt about what occurred. But we all know how, if they're on, let's just say that. Each officer also undergoes 2 hours of annual anti-bias training, uh, 2 hours a year. The department analyzes traffic stops and complaint trends. These checks and balances set the Omaha Police Department apart from other agencies, according to Cologne. So again, Omaha being propped up as the golden standard of policing, and you see some of the things that apparently other police forces aren't doing. And I've asked this question several times: if Omaha is the golden standard of policing, how bad is it elsewhere? And I guess as we just explained in Emory, you see how bad it is elsewhere. So You know, it's kind of like the president. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
If you did, yeah, man. I like what Tamika Johnson in the chest. He says OPD is going to protect their so-called model policing reputation. Uh, I mean, I feel you. I'm from California, bro. So you know, you know,
you know,
every time I get pulled over, I got to get out on the curb and lay
man,
down, and we from, and that's not even in L.A. That's Inland Empire, which is just as bad. So, the first time I ever got pulled over out here, I got out the car and put the hands on the hood and did the whole,
hmm
She was like, "What you doing? Get back in the car."
man, really? That's
I,
what you call PTSD, bro.
First year or two I was here, I was calling the homies back home like, "Yo, these cops is nice out here, y'all. These cops are
Hey,
nice."
I'm not gonna lie, man. When I was in college in Tallahassee, I saw a cop helping somebody change their tire, and I was just like mind blown. I was just like, yo,
They can do that.
that happens. They're helping somebody. What?
Yeah, that's wild. Uh, I know our Caucasian brothers and sisters are just like, "Yeah, that's what they do," and we're like, "Yeah, not in our neighborhoods." Yeah,
Man,
man.
man, oh man, Dave Chappelle, so many jokes, so many jokes. I
Uh,
didn't know I couldn't do that.
yeah, model policing, like I said, man, it's not perfect, but yes, there are some places around that are worse. But
Is that's
it can get pretty bad here too, and we're here, we're hyper locally focused, and so the problems that are here, I'm not going to diminish because there might be some worse somewhere else. But because think about what our state usually does. It usually takes note from like southern state, all these other states
man,
that are doing
Mississippi of the
wild. Right,
Midwest,
we gonna have a cop city here, bro, for real. We're gonna have
man.
a cop city here.
I don't know. Have they completed the renovations out at Tactic 88 or whatever?
I don't know. I don't know about them, but I'm talking about official. Like I feel like every time I get off on 24th Street in Lake, and I realize that all the patrol cars are right there on the corner of the Deuce.
Man,
I'm just like, why they always got to bump up some police activity right up against our neighborhoods? Like, you know, that's a big swath of land they got going on right there, where all the highway, where all the patrols are, and all. Like, it's just it is what it is. But again, we don't have some of the problems that other places got. And there's a lot of other places around us, especially in the region, are looking at Omaha as the model. But there's some problem. We got problems here. I mean, we're not here to talk about what was. We're talking about the issues that are going on here. That's what it has to be. So, and who's policing the police? I mean, that's really like the bottom line question. It seems to me that more attention is given when press embarrasses the city than actual any kind of actual reform or anything like that. The only time that I can say that that's got my mind has changed a little bit on that is watching Brother Senator Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne go in and try to change laws and actually make some difference when it comes to the law is concerned. But other than that, I really, and then the more that we get to know about like Willie Barney Empowerment Network, kind of the work that they're doing with the network, understanding more about what the 360 meetings are about, how they are trying to connect with people, listening to Kimra, who's been involved in efforts to connect the police to the neighborhoods.
hmm
Okay, yeah, I can kind of see, I see that. I see incremental movement, but I see bigger movement when it's a national story that they get embarrassed by and stuff like that. As far as like those things are concerned. So but Chris Baby Boy Bolin has started that whole. I mean, we've been talking about it for years, but he wrote the article about who polices the police, and
yeah,
so I really appreciate that he's continuing on talking about these things. And it's interesting he's bringing these up while we're over here talking about OHA and the complaints that people who live in OHA properties have been giving to OHA, and understanding that they've been doing stuff like saying call us instead of provide paper trail. And then then they get on the news and say stuff like, we haven't received a bunch of complaints from the tenants. Like, what? You can walk up and down and probably get a complaint from each tenant. So what happens with that process? What happens with the process of you complaining about the situation to your local government and they paying any kind of attention to it?
Man, I tell you, I tell you. Let me find this comment. Is the somebody just made a comment about actually the connection between the two is very interesting as far as white women. There's the
Mm,
comment that says white women using the police, and just like the OHA situation, you ask them what happens. What happens is you get the police called on you
mm.
from a power hungry Karen. I mean, just
They was they straight up called the police on him and said he was trespassing and brought a force over to pull out
yeah.
brother Lee.
Here's the comment I was looking for. Guillermo Pena in the chat says, to me, it's still very scary that a white woman has that much power over me, even though I'm the store manager or the owner of said property. It scares me to death to this day. Saying, my problem is last week a white woman claimed I hit her and I was going to go in handcuffs. Doesn't matter the station in life. This just happened to me 3 days ago. I shouldn't have that kind of fear, but it's the fear I know in America I have every time I have to be confrontational with the guest. Just trying to
Mm,
do his job.
man,
Just trying to do his job.
appreciate that testimony, brother Pena, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Uh, I'm going to jump into the chat because it's going off. Miss
yeah,
Gwen
man.
Easter in the chat. Good morning to you, Miss Easter. She says the police slammed a report to two. That was one of those campuses where protests were taking place. Slammed a report. Okay.
A reporter.
Oh, a reporter. Oh, yeah. Oh, I did see that on the news. Yeah, I appreciate that comment. Also, I see what brother Anthony Rogers Wright's doing. He's a he is commenting from Facebook and YouTube. He's gonna make sure
Yeah,
everybody sees.
ain't gonna double up on you.
Double up, double up.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
says, yeah. Also, I'm sorry, brother Pena says we'll be having a Young Democrats convention on April 28th. Anybody who's interested, 18 through 20 through 35, we'd appreciate if you would come.
Dope.
So, if you have any information on that, a flyer, a event page or something like that, put that in the chat for us, or put that in front of the First Guy Omaha. We'll definitely promote that and see if we can get some people out to that Young Democrats convention that you got going on. Appreciate that. Paul Philman in the chat. Good morning. He says Hassani Lee working to share full 60 minutes of his video of health department inspections. Is first 2023. First half has been shared to media and OHA director. Community unity to remove director needed. Okay, can't wait to hear more about that. Appreciate that very much. Also, Anthony Rogers Rice says, "Yep, that which is why it was whack that Tony Vargas ignored young people asking about Gaza, talking about the reason all these protests that are going on, this genocide." He said even Don Bacon clowned Vargas for doing that and
Man,
said he would have at least talked to those young folks. I don't know what that means, but I mean, why didn't he talk to the young folks? And if you're talking about at least he would.
yeah.
Kimmer says, Tila Mickles tried to get me to apply for the OPD Citizens Complaint Review Board to rep South Omaha. I told her, no, thank you. It has zero power. Wow. So
Mm.
Kimmer feels like that board has zero power. Chris Baby Boy Bolin sounds like he's confirming that, that what are they doing if people complain? Not much.
Is he waiting in the wings? You want to go ahead?
He's waiting in the wings. You want to go ahead and bring him in? I kind of
Yeah.
wanted to cover a little bit more here. Let's go ahead and bring him in. If he's there. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Chris Baby Boy Bolin in the
Baby
house,
boy.
looking like a grown man. What's going on, bro?
Oh, not much. Can you guys see me all right? My window is freezing a little bit, so I don't know if
No,
Nah,
you're good.
man.
it's all good.
Everything
Okay,
clear.
cool.
Sounding
Just, just
good.
just do us a favor. If you got any windows open, shut those windows down.
This is the only window. I don't know. It's who knows? Maybe it's this laptop. It's John Houston's old laptop, so it's been through the ringer. So who
Yeah,
knows?
Man.
got a lot of truth and justice on it.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah.
Yes, sir, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good to see you, man. It's been a while. We appreciate you coming on back. And how you been? What's going on with you?
I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm trying to think the last time that I was. The last time I was on was to talk about the citizen complaint story I did for Flatwater. So, yeah, just trying to keep my head above water, doing lots of different stories. Working on lots of good stuff right now, and yeah, I just had a story come out about complaints of bias and discrimination against the Omaha Police Department. That it's a pretty interesting story that I heard you guys chat a little bit about before I got in. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm excited to talk about that.
you just on the complaint tip. Last time you was here is about complaints.
Well, it's just they when you basically what happened was is I did that story about the Citizen Complaint Review Board, which, as everybody will probably remember, is when you make a complaint to the police department and you don't like how the police department investigated your complaint, or you don't agree with their finding of it, you can appeal to the Citizen Board. But the problem is that the Citizen Board doesn't really have a whole lot of power and also doesn't see a whole lot of complaints. So, as part of that story, I had requested a full data set of citizen complaints, which would be similar to something I did like a long time ago for the reader. And I didn't get it in time for that story. And then I did get it. And when I put together all the data and like analyzed, the number of complaints per allegation, all this sort of stuff, we realized that there was 63 complaints of bias or discrimination since 2013, which is the year that I had for the cutoff of the data. And 0 times have they ever sided with the citizen who had made the complaint. So it's not that I'm just out here like trying to look for stories about complaints against the police. It's just that when you look at something like that, it's like, how do you not stop and be like, I wonder like what's going on there. So yeah.
Yeah, and just to make it clear, that's 63 complaints in 10 years. I think it would be fair to say it would be more. It's actually probably more than that. And of those 63, few zero. That's quite interesting. From your perspective, from your research, from your work. Um, what do you see as the reasoning behind that?
Oh, I think it's kind of hard because sometimes it's difficult to explain something that isn't happening. That can be a
Hmm.
very frequent problem in journalism. So it's
Yeah.
sort of hard to say, but yeah. So for this story, I talked to a couple of really good experts. One is like a use of force, police misconduct expert in South Carolina, who recently testified in the Derek Chauvin trial.
Mm.
So that's some good credibility for him. And then the other person I talked to used to work for the Department of Justice as a deputy chief of some kind. And she actually led the investigation and the reform negotiations in Ferguson after Michael Brown was killed in 2014. And she also did investigations in like Chicago and Newark, New Jersey, and all this, other stuff. Like she just had a very impressive resume. So anyway, all of that to say, what they said is that there's a couple reasons. Like one, bias and discrimination can be very difficult to prove. So unless somebody, you get pulled over and the officer literally is like, "Hey, I'm pulling you over because you're black," or that's caught on, or whatever race you are, or whatever they're discriminating against. Unless that's caught like on their body worn camera or something like that, then it's going to be very unlikely. So that's one thing. Bias is hard to prove. The second one is that these are really complicated sometimes, like thorny things that like unless the police are being forced to really look into this, they probably are not going to do like a 100% like thorough review of the complaint and all that sort of stuff. They also only have, and I can't remember off the top of my head, I want to say it's 60 days, maybe 100 days, but they don't have a whole lot of time. Well, I don't know. I guess it just depends. I mean, in some ways they don't have a lot of time. In other ways, these experts I talked to were like, I mean, you can do a thorough review of a bias complaint in an afternoon. It's not like you need all this time. So anyway, hard to prove. They don't often really want to get into it. And then the third reason they gave me was sometimes the way that they go about investigating bias is that they have this really high standard of like what we need to prove. And that often like should not be the case. Is what they said is that you're not it's not a lawsuit against a police officer. It's not like a federal trial against this officer. It's just a citizen complaint. So some places could lower their threshold a little bit for what they consider to be bias or discrimination. So anyway, kind of a long answer, but that's what they told me.
Yeah, interesting. I definitely, I can see. But I'm glad that you broke down the points like that because that's very, very interesting and very true. It's kind of it's been hard to, especially in any kind of like criminal cases and stuff like that too. Like, how do you prove bias? It's always been a tough thing.
Yeah.
Um, I still feel like, of course, we always lean towards this idea that there needs to be some kind of third party, independent oversight, situation on all those things, even complaints, which aren't necessarily. When you say complaints, it's heavy, but it's also like when you think about complaints, it's their complaints. They don't necessarily always translate to some kind of criminal situation or criminal or action that needs to be taken against a police officer for any kind of criminal behavior. I mean,
Hmm.
a complaint is different than a lawsuit or being or I guess it could. I guess it could though. I guess if you put a complaint out there, it could be because of some kind of unlawful action.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What other recourse do you have to complain about something that you feel like the cops have done illegally to you?
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I guess in that sense, what else can you do but send an
Yeah. So that was the other part of the story that was like, well, if if people's complaints aren't being, if they don't feel like their complaints are being properly heard, what else would you do? Well, you can always sue somebody. So there have been 4 lawsuits in the last 10 years that OPD, well, the city has settled. The lawsuits were against OPD or their officers, where at least part of the lawsuit involved, the person alleging discrimination or biased policing or something like that. Those 4 lawsuits totaled nearly $700,000. So, not chump change. So it's kind of interesting when it's like, hey, no complaints of bias have been, sided with, but the city is settling a bunch of money for lawsuits that in some way allege, bias or discrimination. The hard thing there is it's like one of those situations was like Zachary Bear Heels, for example.
Mm.
And I don't know based on the data, like who made the complaints. And also, it's kind of like, I can't remember who I was talking to. I think it was a former ACLU lawyer. And he was like, why would you, if you had this like egregious case of bias and discrimination, why would you make a complaint? Like, why would you not go straight toward a lawsuit?
Mm.
It just doesn't make any sense. So I guess there's that thinking there too, which is like, I mean, and I don't know, I'm just like hypothesizing and speculating, but like, if it is so bad, then I mean, I guess I don't know. I mean, maybe if it was so bad, you could get awarded some compensation from the department from a complaint. I don't think so. I highly, highly doubt that. Um, Actually, I'm pretty sure that's like not how it works. But so anyway, it's like, why wouldn't you go straight toward a lawsuit?
It,
So
it's, ac- it's
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point. For those of you who don't remember the situation of Zachary Bear Hills, he was a Native American brother that died at the hands of 4 police officers. Eventually a few of them got fired, thanks to the union. A few of them got rehired. It was a case that we definitely spoke about a lot and covered, and then even been to some days of remembrance for brothers Zachary Bear Hills.
Mhm.
So yeah, when you just threw it in that category, I'm thinking complaints, about how somebody's treating you or whatever. But that's a criminal. That's a we're complaining about the
Yeah, well, and
things.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if there was ever a complaint. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And if I'm like honestly going off of my gut, I don't know why you would like
That's
not just go toward
that's
a
the point,
lawsuit. So yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, but like by and large, I think like when people imagine like bias or discrimination stuff, it's like, I'm getting harassed because of like, some reason about like who I am, or I'm getting this person pulled me over literally just for this. I mean, the main, initial story in the or the thing that the story that gets into the story is about a woman named Michelle Settles, who got pulled over in I want to say it was June 2020, um, and basically she thinks for no other reason than because she's black. There was no one else that was getting pulled over. the cops started asking her, like, why are you driving a rental car? Like, where are you guys going? What do you know, all this sort of stuff. And it escalated to the point that the officer was, pulled out a gun and was like, had it on, her son and all this sort of stuff. So, that ended up becoming a lawsuit. But, I don't know. It's just hard to say. It's just like, I think that's the stuff you don't hear about. And that was kind of stuff my experts said is like, the stuff that is not rising to a level of like I have a case for a lawsuit, but is rising to a level of I feel I was mistreated and I just want some kind of vindication. And it's also like you shouldn't have to feel like like lawsuits are expensive and they take a lot of time. I don't think that should be the way that people sort of try to hold the system accountable. But
Right.
so anyway, yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to sort of compare the two, but I mean, when there really isn't another comparison, that's kind of the only one you can take.
So, I know you kind of spoke to Senator McKinney, or you pulled some quotes for Senator McKinney on this. And I know he's been very vocal in passing legislation and pushing legislation about police oversight. And it's recently has some parole changes and things like that. Have you heard of any ideas or anything as far as oversight? That doesn't include going directly to the police to complain about the police, expecting them to police themselves, which obviously is not going to happen.
Hmm.
And short of, like you said, going through an expensive, tedious lawsuit process, going against the Omaha police in the city who has lawyers on staff. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of like elsewhere in the country, there's a lot of different kinds of oversight models. I mean, like there are cities that have multiple independent oversight bodies, whether that be professional oversight, so having a specific person or a team of people who are like trained professionals to oversee this stuff, and then there's obviously citizen oversight. There is a wide variety of like, I mean, there are some, I want to say there are some citizen oversight boards that can actually hire and fire their police and fire chiefs and people like that. Milwaukee used to have that, but I think they recently got rid of it.
mm,
And then, yeah, down to the level of like what Omaha has, where they can make recommendations, but other than that, they don't really have any power. Um, yeah, yeah, so I don't know. There, in terms of in Nebraska, I actually found out about a new type of oversight committee recently in the reporting of the story, because Omaha police, in sort of their explanation of why they think they do a really good job, is that they actually send the state actually collects all complaints of racial profiling from across the state. Um, and that doesn't, again, it can be like traffic related, it can be not traffic related, all that sort of stuff. And in their explanation, OPD was like, we send all our data to them, they can let us know if they have a problem. And so I called the state and I was just like, hey, they say they give you all their complaints. Like, how often are you reviewing them? And he's like, well, not really ever, unless they think that misconduct has occurred, and we need to look at the officer's certification. So that was one thing. The next thing was that the state crime commission is what it's called. They actually have there's a committee that is kind of underneath them called the racial profiling committee that is
mm,
supposed to oversee all allegations of racial profiling, all the agencies across Nebraska's
Interesting.
policies about racial profiling, trying to recommend what people should be doing about this, all this sort of stuff. It was a part of when Senator Chambers back in the day started, had the bill to require departments to track like traffic stop data and all this sort of stuff. Like this was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know about historically, but in recent years, it's not met at all. I talked to one woman who was appointed to the board in 2022 and she works for the ACLU, and she's all fired up like, this is exactly what our state needs. Like, I really want to do this. And then she's like emailing the crime commission, is like, hey, when's the next meeting? And they're like, we'll get back to you. And then she keeps emailing, keeps getting the same answers. And now she's just like, what's going on? Like, we literally have an oversight body, but we just won't schedule a meeting for it. So I don't
mm.
know. It's just interesting. It's, there's a lot of different ways. And I mean, to go even further down the rabbit hole, the experts I talked to, they're like, oversight is a good thing, but it's not really like the solution for catching misconduct because
Right.
all you're ever going to know about is what's on the back end of
Is what
it.
happened, right.
Yeah, so the really important thing is like really good policy that identifies and defines racial profiling. These really good internal detection systems that like you can, like it's hard to prove that. Like, let's say there's a traffic stop, and you think that they pulled you over because of the color of your skin, but they never said anything. That's hard to prove. But if you look at that officer's traffic stop data and you see, hey, they're pulling over these people, or people of color is like, I don't know, it's way higher than anyone else in the department, and they're searching their cars more, and they're giving out harsher citation, whatever it is, like that's the sort of stuff where you can kind of be like, maybe there's like a problem here. So
Mm.
I think there's a lot of ways to do it, but I mean, it's just hard to. I mean, one of
Yeah.
the things was like, do you screen for bias police officers? And one of my experts was like, and I think he means this like within reason, but he's basically like, we all have implicit biases. Are you not going to hire someone because they have an implicit bias? Like that would be wrong, because the only people who are going to not show bias on this test are the people who are really biased and are good at show. So I mean, it's just sort of like you're always playing like 5-dimensional chess up in your head of like trying to, yeah.
Let me jump in here.
Mhm.
It's 8:01 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're in the second hour now of First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning. Hey.
We're here with Chris Baby Boy Bolin for the first time in a while, bringing it back. He's written an article in Flatwater Free Press. I suggest you go check it out because he's bringing out some really good points here. If you got questions, I recognize that the chat is on another subject, and you guys are talking amongst yourself, which is cool. We like that as well. But we also want to respect his time. So if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, put them in the chat. We can definitely talk about this particular subject, and we'll come back to the other subject here that you guys are talking about in the chat afterwards. But really appreciate it. Yeah, Marianne Williams says great article, Chris. I got to tell you, we've had some discussions with the guys over at Flatwater before. We understand that Flatwater Free Press is going to be a organization that is going to pay attention to the whole state, not just Omaha. We were very happy when you got brought on over there because we knew you have a reputation from the reader as somebody who's going to go in for Omaha and also be very fair when it comes to stuff that that especially has to do with our neighborhoods, Black community, and also because of your Disinvested series, kind of know where you stand on understanding the problems and some of the things that are going on. So this particular one that you're talking about today is I see as a very nuanced.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, uh, I like the fact that we're going there because it's not just about the obvious racial situations that are happening. It's not just about the disinvestment, but it's kind of about attitudes, and it's about like I said, a nuanced way to look at the way that people are actually viewing themselves and viewing how viewing others. Brother
Mm-hmm.
Knight in the chat is saying something that I think a lot of us feel. He says, due to social engineering, what is deemed black is perceived as an evil that white must fight. He says all else is a result of autopilot. That's kind of the idea. It's kind of the idea. I feel like we do sometimes feel like especially the police force, the institution of the police is already going to look at our neighborhoods as areas that need to be controlled. They give us that impression that it's beyond just implicit bias.
Mm-hmm.
It's racial. It's supremacy. And how do you go in? How do you feel like you are supreme, and then go into an area that you feel above and police that? So yes, it does kind of start with a lot of these types of things that you're describing,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're bringing forth. It starts with those attitudes. Those attitudes are what shape how the procedure and how the police will act and what they do. We've had examples all over the states of these very same things. They had a whole stop and frisk thing going on in New York for a lot of years. And I do remember that when they were trying to knock that down, they pulled a committee together for the same thing to keep track of some of that data and so on, so that they can get to the point where where they can fight those laws at one point they fought those laws and they won. I think it's kind of back now,
Mhm.
but yeah, but it is something that needs to be. I always have this feeling of like, oh, here they go with another committee, another study.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let's get down to actually fixing some things. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start with some data to show that this is actually happening to the powers that be. And anytime there's any kind of outside watchdog type of situation, I mean that's only going to further the argument. So it's necessary.
Mhm.
As you, I know that you were from the same. You were sitting in the same class that John Houston put together for us for solutions journalism. So I know that you're on that tip
Mhm.
too. Where what do you see the answer is here for for shoring up this committee or you obviously brought this to our attention for a reason because
Mhm.
there might be something that can be done about it through
Mhm.
these actions. How do you feel about that? What are you thinking?
Yeah, yeah, that is a good question. So, I mean, I think, I guess there's another reason that I didn't mention of why bias is sort of hard to investigate, and that's kind of connects to your question. Is that there's been a lot of like growth in just like how departments define and investigate bias. So there's still a lot changing. It's kind of a cop out answer. It's kind of not. I mean, I don't know. Like the so city of New York. I mean, stop and frisk policy, obviously, like probably like the biggest in terms of contemporary pattern of police practice, like in America, of racially profiling Black people in New York City and stopping and frisking them. So, I mean, they recently just started New York City a racial profiling allegation sort of like investigation unit. That's being led by a former lawyer who tried a lot of these cases. So I tried talking to them for this story, and I wasn't able to, get through and chat with them. But I mean, I think that's going to get a lot of insight into how we should go about this because it's just sort of hard. It's like, I mean, some people would argue, the police department would argue that those zero, findings in favor of the complainant for these bias complaints and discrimination complaints is evidence that they do a really good job. And I mean, it's like maybe that is true to some extent, but it's also just like I don't think that anybody, unless you are just like a total like I believe everything the police say, which is not like you have to be like I hate the police to be skeptical of the police. You don't have to hate any person or organization to want to be like a little skeptical of what they're saying. So as long as all of the power like sits with police to investigate these things, I think it just becomes like it's just hard to like really know if it's true or not. So
I feel like it's naive to think that there's no bias. That's it's just starting from there.
mhm.
It doesn't make any sense with the state and the world that we live in. How is there absolutely zero? It's just 0 to 63 is the title of this article.
Yeah.
How are there no sightings with? Oh yeah, they might have been biased in the situation. That's already going to bring a level of
Yeah. And I
skepticism.
mean, another thing I'll bring up that's also interesting. I did not mention it in the story, and I mean, we'll see if maybe it'll come up some way down the line. But there's also use of force complaints, and I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I want to say there was at least a couple hundred use of force complaints, maybe a low like 200, I would say. Um, and I want to say there was like less than 10, maybe like five of times they sided with the complainant on that. So it's just sort of like there are these things where it's like, maybe like if you're the kind of person that wants to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, like, I believe everything you're saying, there's just a lot of things where it's like, but how is this possible? I mean, is it just that
It's
we live
not.
in this? Yeah, so
It's
anyway,
not.
so the point being is that I think you do need some kind of like, I mean, I think external oversight of some kind. I'm not going to like advocate for any, one solution or not, but what people would say is that, external oversight is good just so that you can see like hey, how is all of this working? I mean, like something like the racial profiling committee that the state has that's supposed to be doing this. Like, I think that would be a really interesting thing. Omaha used to have this public safety auditor, and they released a report about how traffic stops are messed up in Omaha and how police are not investigating the complaints properly. Something like that would be interesting. Just some more transparency is always better. Like, one thing I'll also plug is I put together a database that you can actually sort through, and you can see like there have been this many complaints about this, that many complaints about this, and this is how they discipline the officers or whatever. Most cities just have that sort of like, well, I don't say most cities, but a lot of cities just have that publicly available, and you can.
Go ahead and throw that in the chat or throw that in front of First Sky. We'd love to see that. If you
Yeah,
understand. I mean, not right now. I'm just saying, like, yeah, we'd love to see that.
yeah.
Buddy, you want to jump in jump in here?
Yeah, man. It's just a couple of things about this conversation just not sitting right. I feel like the answers are already out there. I just find it like to hear that, like you said, that this board, this committee that we've never heard of, and we're having these conversations 3 times a week trying to find out, what committees are out there. Uh, we've been talking about this. You asked the question, "Who's policing the police?" a long time ago, years ago, when the Reader,
Mhm.
that was a whole different publication ago.
Yeah.
Um, and it's interesting that there's all these bodies and none of them have teeth, none of them have any power. I think the answers are out there. And on the issue of bias, I think we're talking about two different things. What I'm hearing you explain, of course it's human nature for people to have different perspectives, for people to have certain biases, and that's just human nature. You can't escape that, because that's everybody, regardless of race, background, ethnic, racial, financial, regardless of where you come from, you're going to have a bias and perspective. But
Mhm.
when that bias turns to certain people losing their lives, that bias turns to certain people going to jail, that bias turns to certain things leaning a certain way, then it becomes something bigger than just a human nature bias. And I
Mhm.
think that can be proven and that can be addressed. And I think the data is out there for that. And I think, we know the preschool to prison pipeline. We know what this thing is. And quite interestingly enough, as we're talking about bias, I'm looking at this Omaha World Herald article that talks about the high number of indigenous people who have died at the hands of police, and saying that according to this Omaha World Herald article, I don't even want to freestyle. The headline reads: "Cops kill Native Americans at a rate 5 times that of whites and 3 times that of blacks." So we're talking about discrimination against black people, so-called black people, and Native Americans are even that much worse. And so the data
Mhm.
is out there, and I don't think it's hard to argue that there's discrimination. What I see is the police is what it is, and we can't get around that. It is what it is. The police force is a naturally oppressive force. That's what it's going to be. And until we actually give power to somebody else to oversee it, then we're going to keep dancing around and having this conversation. I feel
Mhm.
like the solution is out there. It's just no. Why isn't this committee meeting?
Mhm.
Siri, I ain't talking to you.
Well, and I'll actually even say the committee, the person I talked to about it, so she was calling or emailing like, "Hey, when is this committee going to meet?" Never getting an answer back. The next thing she heard about it was there was a bill actually in the Nebraska legislature this past session. It didn't pass, but it would have eliminated this committee. It was part of like a bunch of committees that are basically defunct, and I mean, there was like racial profiling committee, the potato growers committee. I mean, it was like, I mean, it's funny, but it's also like not funny at all. But it's just like, I mean, it's just like I'm not even trying to have like a bent here. Like I don't want to be like,
Yeah,
I'm
and I
never
understand.
focused here, but it's
Learning
just like,
to.
how is that not a important topic that we should? And like it said, I mean, it's not defunct because the members don't care. I mean, okay, so another thing I'll throw out there before I have to go because my computer's like very close to dying. But I reached out to Terry Crawford over at UNO, who's with the Omaha Double N ACP, NAACP. Sorry, it's early in the morning. Anyway, I was talking to Terry Crawford because I'm looking at the statute that established the racial profiling committee, and it says there needs to be a representative from one of Nebraska's NAACP chapters. I think there's only two, Omaha and Lincoln. And I'm like, hey, so have you do you guys have anyone on this board, like, or this committee? Like, what's going on? She's like, I've never heard of that before, and I've been with the NAACP for a long time. So
Wow.
she took it to her executive committee and their like full meeting. This was about a week ago, and she's like, nobody has ever heard of this committee.
Of
So
course.
that's where I'm just like, I mean, there's it's just weird. So anyway,
First of all, this is why we need the press so bad, the fourth estate. So shout out to you for doing the work. Shout out to Flatwater Free Press. Wanda Lewis in the chat saying Flatwater Free Press when everybody else missed the storyline. I'm gonna even go further than that. Say Chris Bowling when everybody missed the storyline.
Man, baby
So,
boy.
baby boy in the house. So appreciate you deep diving on this. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. Even the NAACP doesn't know about this racial bias. You know what I'm saying? And that goes to show you like the attitude behind it, the attitude that that it should go away along with the potato growers committee and everything. Like all like it shows you what place they're putting these things in and how much this is happening. The argument is the argument because the other side of the argument is they need to police us.
mhm.
We're the criminals. We're the ones that need when you talk to them about their reasoning for this happening, why is it more? Why are there more black folks in jail? Why are there more black people getting pulled over? It's because it's our fault. We're the criminals. We're the ones that are doing all this stuff, and we need more policing than other communities. And that's their side of the argument. So we're not even having the argument that we're talking about right now is not even a thing. Marianne Williams says, I feel like society is recognizing the problem with current policing policies and ideologies, but we're not demanding our leaders change it. They like Israel. They like Israel have way too much power. We're talking about them being able to change something, but what about their side of the argument? So I'm gonna definitely continue on in the chat here, but I want to also give you the opportunity to let you go. We know that we had you scheduled to a certain time, and you got some things going on there. So if you can stick around, cool. If not, I understand if you got to go. But I do want to get a final word from you on that, and also maybe something you got coming up that you want to speak on.
Yeah, no, and I'd love to stick around. My computer's on 5%, so it's hopefully gonna stay alive long enough for me to finish talking. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think like you guys have said it about as well as I can. It's just, I mean, from a purely pulling it all the way back to an objective standpoint, it's just
Mhm.
a really, really interesting number. And it makes you ask all these questions that we're talking about. And however you feel, you could talk to anyone on any side of the debate. Um, but it's just a really interesting figure. And it's information at the end of the day that people should know because obviously it's something that people really, care about, get excited about, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, no, I'm just thankful you guys had me on. As far as things that are coming up, lots of different things. I'm actually doing a pretty big story about Omaha's unsheltered homeless population right now. So that's going to be. I've been working on that for a few months actually, so it's going to be quite interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of stuff. I mean, I'm keeping my eye on the legislature, the temporary assistance for needy families funding,
Man,
the federal money we get to essentially give welfare money to people, and how we're giving less than we have in the past, and less people are getting on it, and the benefits are becoming a smaller portion of how much you need to actually survive, like all that sort of stuff. So I'm still very, very attuned to that. That'll probably be a big thing this next legislative session. So, yeah, and always, I mean, my email is cbowling, BOWLING, at Flatwater Free Press. If anyone's ever got a story idea or is like, you did this completely wrong or you missed the point, email me because I just would love to hear from people. And yeah, I know there's all kinds of stories going on in Omaha that just are not getting told. And so I can't do all of them. That's always a very challenging part of the job. But, I want to hear about them and I want to at least let people voice their concerns. So, yeah.
Right
man.
on.
Now you're doing a good work, man, as always. The consummate professional. Of course, as a journalist, keeping trying to keep it level. trying to keep it as unbiased and impartial as you can. But
Yeah,
yeah,
trying.
yeah. No, we thank you for at least bringing the information in. We'll read between the lines.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got everyone else can decide how they feel about it. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a
yeah.
thing where it's hard to decide how you feel about it. You
Right.
will definitely know, and I think it's just like I said, it's just information people should know because if you don't know and all you can go off of is like
What they
then
say.
it's just, yeah. So anyway,
appreciate you bringing it to the forefront again. A trusted voice in the community, Chris Bowling. Really appreciate you on all the work that you're doing over there at Flatwater, and we'll have you back sooner than later.
yeah, absolutely. Have me back anytime, even if it's not for a story. I'd love to come on and just chat about something. So you guys are getting into a lot of new stuff lately. I saw Mr. Lee's talking on the Underwood Tower. That's a
Yeah,
Yeah,
huge
man.
issue, but yeah,
yeah.
Thanks,
love to
man.
come back
Thank
on.
you.
Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a call offline so we can talk about some of that a little bit. This a
Okay,
big story that we need to really kind of talk about. So
yeah,
we'll be giving you a call.
okay, sounds good.
Right
All
on,
right.
man.
All
Peace.
right, see you guys later.
Peace. Have a
Thanks.
good one. There you
Man,
go, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Baby Boy Bowling.
baby boy.
Always great things. We're going to jump into the chat and come back and talk about some of the things that you guys are getting into in the chat. Some comments that I missed that I'd like to go back to. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to just kind of clear the palate a little bit, and we'll come back and jump back in as soon as we possibly can. If I can get some things going here with this new program, I tell you what. In the meantime, between time, we'll take a quick break and come right back. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you,
Hey.
Chad Chambers, Ghost listeners, radio listeners, and what was the new one?
Monitoring spirits.
And monitoring spirits. Yes. You can always hit us up at firstguyomaha@gmail.com if you want to get down and come on. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. You're listening to First Guy Omaha Radio. It's going down, y'all. It's the remix. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Hey.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All right, we're back. First Guy Omaha Radio, First Guy Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Chat is going off in a big way, and I'm here for it. Appreciate y'all. Most deaf.
Man.
Want to jump back into it real quick if you don't mind, just for a second. Marianne Williams, it says no one will take in eight on Israel and no one will take on law enforcement. Uh, yeah, it does feel like nobody's really taking it on. Everybody's kind of holding back on what they say about both of those subjects. As a matter of fact, that is my experience. Stuart brother Knight in the chat says, "I know I'm biased concerning race. I first recognized it when I was 6. Talk about purpose. Yeah, everybody has their bias. I appreciate what you said, buddy, about that. We are
Yeah.
talking about two different things. We're talking, when your bias uh, um, feels you're being racist or unfair. I mean, that's when there's a problem. And anybody, people in power, people who have jurisdiction over you and your person, can't have to watch that for real. You can't
Man.
let your biases get in the way of the laws that that are supposed to be protecting people, or your
Yeah.
job as a protector.
There's levels to it, man. There's levels to it. Actually, shout out to Upward Bound. Man,
Mm.
beautiful organization. In Upward Bound, they had several years. They had this bias training come for the students,
Hmm.
and it talked about isms, and we learned about all the different isms: racism, sexism, ageism, ableism, all of these isms. And in that training, they broke down the different levels of bias and discrimination and racism. And these are all different words for a reason, and yes, everybody has bias, but what we're talking about is discrimination,
Yeah,
which
racism isn't bias.
right. I mean, even racism, yeah, it's a whole different level. Racism in that classic, definition, it includes systemic power, and the willingness and intent and, and the execution of using that power to enforce your biases. That's it's of
Yeah,
course we all have our biases, but once you start enforcing that on people and impacting others' lives because of your biases, then it's a problem, and there's law out there to stop that.
very
And
true.
yeah,
Yep. Just want to jump back in the chat real quick. Malik Rogers in the chat. Good morning. Says, can senators request this information and change how they operate, like what they did with the parole board? Sure, they can. Something we
yeah,
can present to them. Also, excuse me. Rome's review says when more than one cop is present, one cop should act as de-escalate and have to audit every stop, whether or not a citation is given. Yeah, we can pile on rules on people in order to do this, and it's interesting when you're thinking about it. According to this conversation, we can pile on all these rules, and we feel like we need to because of the bias that they come with in the first place
hmm
that they want to act on. So how many rules can you pile on for somebody to change their attitude or behavior or thought about about a people?
I mean,
Marion Williams says transparency is always better. I just don't feel like we're going to do anything about it because we never have.
right.
I agree. Malik Rogers says somebody in our community knew about these types of committees. Better question is, why are they not talking about them or strategizing to have them be more active? It's a very good question. The fact that those committees were supposed to have a member of the NAACP on it, and NAACP didn't even know about it. It takes a reporter to dig that information out and provide it to the NAACP. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wanda Lewis says, I will call the police if necessary. However, they've minimized several of their job duties, such as vehicle break ins and auto accidents. In Omaha, you have to report to a non emergency number, and no one hardly ever calls back. After several attempts and hours, I had to call 911 to get the non emergency to reply. So, interesting about that. I wonder what all the reasons are that that's the case. That they have pulled back some policing, that how their non-emergency number works, and if they looked at your address or something and was like, yeah, we not, yeah, and then took their time. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons that could be behind that. Tony Johnson says back in the day, people got fired when news reporting something before they did, even it came to committees not doing anything. Yeah, news. There's a war on news for sure. Reporters are still need to do the job, and but yes, it's unfortunate they don't hold as high regard as they used to. That they can actually, actually. I mean, I take that back. I think that still exists, but just not as much as it was back in the day for sure. Where a story can pull something out and a reporter can pull some information out. There's still watchdog. There's still fourth estate. People can still end up getting fired over some things. We'll see. As a matter of fact, we'll see about this situation with OHA. Now that some things are coming out in the light, thanks to journalists like citizen journalists like Sherman Wells
Paul Philman.
and Paul Philman, and other folks that are out here shining a light on these situations. We'll see if it ends up. We've reported on stuff before where people have stepped down from positions or left positions, or on the reveal of something that's going on in the press. So we'll see. Also, we appreciate everybody that's coming on. Kimber's giving some thanks to Chris for sure. Marion Williams says, so the union is the power behind policing, and no one wants to take on a union for the love of all unions, like it will diminish all unions to deal with the corrupt union. Yeah, we talk about that a lot too. Police union has definitely been a huge part. We talked about Zachary Bear Hills earlier, and how even the chief Tosh Schmatter fired the people that ended up killing Zachary Bear Hills
hmm
because of police union action. Some of them were hired back and endorsements. So yeah, who's going to take on any of these people, any of these organizations is the question. Also, Tony Johnson said, "How old is that document? Somebody has the cosign for NAACP." Good questions. Also, Rome's Review says many blessings to you and yours, Mr. Bowling. So give him some shout outs to brother Baby Boy. Also, let's see. Just trying to scrub through the chat real quick. Brother Knight says I found it funny as hell when you learned they even separated themselves by race.
Yeah, they're going back and forth. Him and Guillermo.
Got it. Sherman Wells in the chat. Good morning. There you go. He says, sad thing is when a brother speak on the police, he gets side eyed by other black people in these black organizations because they all have great working relationships with the police. Interesting. Um, yes. Brother Pena says that the press defends us from the police. Uh, tries to, right. Brother Malik Rogers says I was talking to Brother Wells saying was thinking the same thing when I read the last article. There's a huge difference between having a great working relationship with your friends who work for the police versus the actual relationship your community has with them. Yeah, definitely two different things. I like that comment. Also, Kimber Snipes says just got off the phone with Paul Philman. My guy is on it. Can't wait to hear about that. Can't wait to hear that report. Tony Johnson says a couple of our elected community leaders were active police officers when all that went down. Very true. Some people that are running for office right now used to be part of the police force. This is definitely a thing. So, the community trust in policing, the community attitude in policing, how the implicit bias that is coming from certain people in organizations and systems even. A whole system can be biased. So this is a lot, and I appreciate, like I said, this is kind of that nuanced situation where we're talking about stuff a little bit more. It's kind of like microaggressions. We can talk about racism completely, but we can also go a little get a little nuance with it and talk about microaggressions, which is also racism, hidden. Sometimes you don't know it's happening when it's happening.
Like
Marianne Williams
stop and
says that
frisk.
some. Say again.
Said like stop and frisk. Like it took a long time to really put that in its context. You might think that it's a one-off thing until you start getting the data and start really looking at it and start piecing it together. But that takes research. That takes people who that takes a lot.
And the cold part is too. A lot of black folks at the time were all about it. They felt like crack was killing our community, and they were fine with the police trying to round up as many people as they could until it got out of hand, and then they came back and was like, okay, well, wait, we'll slow down. But it was very much supported in the community, in the black community especially, for stop and frisk to start. Didn't end up that way, but it was part of that. So again, to the comment, of other leaders and other people that are trying to have a relationship with the police. I also agree with that. I agree that our organizations and black leaders need to have a relationship with the police for sure. I don't think that that's not a thing at all. I think that's absolutely a thing. But yes, there's going to come some times when there's some stuff being done, and you don't just allow for the sake of the relationship to allow some messed up stuff to continue on. That relationship's supposed to be there so that you can talk to them about their implicit bias and the things
Right.
that they're doing wrong.
Right, but the whole point of this article is: are they listening? Are they willing to listen? Are they being honest with themselves, or are they, going along this delusion of we're the golden standard of policing, even though you only have 2 hours a year of anti-bias training? That's not enough. That's not enough.
2 whole hours, huh?
2 whole hours a year. Come on, man.
Thanks for everybody's comment on this. It's already 8:33. If you believe in the concept of time, let's get into a little bit. Let's get into the next story that you want to jump on. I think we got a little time before the lightning round. If you want to shift gears here, how you feeling about shifting gears, buddy?
We still kind of got this indigenous story. I don't know how much you want to dive into this.
We already did. We already started. Might as well tell it.
Yeah, but it's actually a national story. But we're talking about policing, and again, this is the Omaha World Herald has actually reported 2 articles talking about this from Ted McDermott from the Public Service Journalism team, and talking about the high rate of Native Americans. Again, we talk about in light of George Floyd, the list goes on of brothers and sisters who have lost their lives at the hands of police, but Native Americans also actually, according to this article, are being killed by police at a rate 3 times higher than that of so-called black people, and 5 times that of those so-called white people. Again, it was, let's see, excuse me. There it goes. Lee Enterprises public service journalism team investigation examined deaths of Native Americans and encounters with law enforcement over the past 10 years, with the focus on and off reservation communities of South Dakota. Again, thinking as I'm reading this article, our brother Zachary Bear Hills. Again, this is an issue both on and off of the reservation. Interviews with dozens of surviving family members, law enforcement officers, attorneys, uh, as well as reporting trips to Native American communities, again, both on and off tribal land, gave new insight about the forces that have been fueling these deaths. The investigations found that across the United States, Native Americans died at a significantly higher rate than any other racial or ethnic group in police encounters. A lack of funding for police and tribal communities contributed to fatal law enforcement incidents, both on and off tribal lands. Loved ones of those who died in police pursuits, police shootings, and jails struggle to access even the most basic information about how these deaths occur. A lack of accountability and oversight in the case of such deaths exacerbates trust between Native Americans and law enforcement, talking about building those relationships. And also, such deaths go unreported by media. Again, and going back to my comment about just the nature of policing, Gabrielle Galanda, who's a part of the Round Valley Indian Tribes of California, and is a Seattle-based indigenous rights attorney, speaks about that very thing, saying, I think you first have to put it in its historic context. And the reason we're near the top, if not atop the list of both police encounters and fatalities, must be understood in the context of colonization and essentially centuries old efforts to force indigenous people away from their homelands, away from their communities into urban settings where they don't have safety net, or they don't have much of a safety net, kind of like the Citizen Review Board doesn't have much teeth. Again, where citizens and people are supposed to have a safety net, they don't have it. And I'll just be honest, man. We gotta think of what the people can do to kind of get their own power. I don't know what the contract of the police between the city and the police says, but there has to be some kind of committee that will actually meet and not just be there in symbol. And quite honestly, what I'm thinking of is we're just kind of seeing how this nation was set up for what it really is. Like Michelle said a couple years ago, the rose-colored glasses have to be lifted. The nature of the police is what it is. And somebody thanks to the comment earlier, as far as you might have friends in the police force, you might have family members in the police force, you might know people, individuals in the police force that have all the good intentions, are model police officers, but the nature of policing itself, and we've seen time and time again those individuals try to change the thing, and it's just almost too big of a beast. Same thing with education. I mean, not to get too deep and down the rabbit hole, but it's the same thing as far as education. Look at the public education board and John D. Rockefeller and what public education was meant for. It's not meant to really prepare people to succeed. It's meant to make workers. That's what it's designed for. These things are what they are. I think we're in a position, policing, housing, talk about the history of redlining, all of these things. We need to start something new or rebuild something. Like, these things can't continue, and I don't even know if changing them from the inside is really the answer.
Yeah.
So
It might have been the strategy of the generation before us, and that might have worked. The generation that I think of that came out of the civil rights movement of the '60s. There was a lot of that kind of attitude: integrate, get inside, and change things from the inside. We went through an era from the '70s till now of the first black everything. We're the first black CEO of this. We're the first black. We're still doing that, and right, and things seem to have gotten worse, and something else needs to be done, and really that's what it is. So I appreciate everybody who is understanding that. I appreciate the work that people like the BAA is doing and other black nationalist organizations. that want to just take the emphasis off of things, police ourselves, educate ourselves, and all the other things. Anthony Rogers right in the chat says, "Facts, buddy. We don't reform cancer. We cut it out and end it before it can do more harm."
There you
Once
go.
again, a chat chimer saying something in a concise sentence, whereas
Man,
I go around the world.
had a whole diatribe about it, and yeah, I mean
If
that's
I could speak more concisely like that, this show would be an hour instead of two. But
man, 10
go around
minutes.
the world. Also, Von Chapman in the chat. Good morning. He says numbers don't lie. Whether you love those who work with the popo or not, numbers don't
Mm.
lie. But you can lie about the numbers.
Let me see.
But if you get the right numbers, numbers don't lie. But Malik Rogers earlier says, I think people are aware of the culture of Omaha police, given their struggle to recruit while surrounding areas. Um, Lost it here. While surrounding areas and hiring more new officers. Problem is Omaha police choosing to not address internal issues beyond just trying to recruit more officers. This also reminds me of the article that we brought about uh, the police department hiring people of color, people the dreamers, and they were really against that. The dreamers, I guess, were coming in and trying to get jobs in law enforcement, and there's been a pushback on that for those kinds of reasons as well. So we see this kind of stuff happening all the time. We definitely can see that. Guillermo Pena is bringing up another good point, and now they want guns in schools. They want teachers to have guns. So Von Chapman says those who work with the people with the popo do lie. Some do. I know some people that have been trying to bridge that gap that are about it. Kimber Snipes comes to mind. I think she's absolutely been about it, and she could be there. Clarice Jackson in the chat. Good morning. Good morning to you. I appreciate your comments. Says thank you both for your steadfast commitment to ensuring that the community is informed and encouraged, and to advocate and to be a change agent. We're just having this. We appreciate that comment very much, and you are absolutely also a change agent, and we have a few of them in the chat. We got a few change agents in the chat, so I definitely appreciate you guys, and it's time to kind of make that happen. It's time to kind of come together and the things that we discuss. We heard that some people don't like the fact that we have evergreen topics that we have further discussion on, not just you know, uh, run and gun fast daily news. We're actually trying to have comprehensive conversations about some of these subjects because they need more than just a flash in the pan discussion. So I appreciate the ones that are around, that are here, that are listening, that are contributing to the conversation. And the power is in having a continual conversation about it and coming to some conclusions about what we can do about taking some action on these things. The natural progression of a conversation to action. So appreciate that very much. And yeah, these are definitely topics that we got to keep on talking about. We have all sides. We've been talking to people, and we got kind of all sides going on as well, because it's really interesting how we do have people in the chat. We do have friends of First Sky Omaha that have been trying to bridge some kind of gap with the police. We talk more to people who are doing that, and we got some people that are leaning way heavy into the idea of policing, way heavy into the idea that this police force is doing everything right. Um, can't agree with that 100%. Do see the intent on people coming in behind, trying to be a part of of, of 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 an inevitability, which is that we're going to have police. We're going to have police in our neighborhoods and so on. So this is what's happening. That's what's happening. So what do we do about it? We got a couple different approaches, but we've always kind of leaned towards this whole, we need to kind of be policing ourselves and so on. So it's interesting conversation. Brother Pena in the chat says it is the pushback of standing up for who you are as a person. Never forget that it is a pushback. They're telling us to sit back down. I'm going to stand up. Well said. Kimber Snipes says even the police say the police ain't getting this right. Some police officers do. So I wonder what the data is on internal complaints against the police department. Yeah, they do have a whole internal affairs. We don't really talk about that much either. What kind of data is there for sure? Also, Tony Johnson says after 15 years of weekly meeting between organizations and police, how are we still in this situation? The question to me is, can you be in a worse situation? We talked a little earlier in the show about other areas in the country that are worse off. They're absolutely worse off as far as the relationships between the police department and the black community, especially. But that doesn't mean that we are going without problems. So to me, I wonder what would happen if there wasn't those efforts happening in the last 15 years. It's good questions. We're gonna. It's 8:44. We want to have a little extensive hap, so we want to say now we appreciate everybody's comments. Please like and subscribe, like Ron's reviews was saying earlier. He's also saying every cop shop knows of corruption in other cop shops. Very true. What are they doing about it? Is kind of the question. We say who polices the police? Well, the police are policing the police, but
Hmm.
are they? What kind of job are they doing for themselves? Even is kind of the question for me. But let's do a little lightning round before we get to the haps. Get your haps together. It is the weekend, so we do want to talk about some things that are going on this weekend, some important things, fun things. And please also get those together to put them in the chat and put them in Friends of First Sky Omaha. In the meantime, between time, buddy, you ready for a little lightning round?
Yeah, yeah. A little bit ago, you were talking about firsts and things like that, and I just want to give a quick shout out to Adam Fletcher Sass, who has a new article talking about firsts and a lot of the history. Man, if you're not familiar with Adam Fletcher Sass, definitely check out his website, northomahahistory.com. He has a new article talking about 1890 in North Omaha and some of the first black doctors, first black businessmen, first
Mhm.
black elected officials who ironically was named Ricketts. So yeah, just want to give that a shout out and definitely go ahead and check that out. Just posted that link in the chat. So yeah, if you want to learn some more history about North Omaha, definitely check that out. Also, in other news, this is something that a lot of you chimed up about, and maybe we can round this come back to this on Monday when we speak to the senators. But talking about LB 25 again, which received a veto from Pillen on Wednesday night, announced the signatures of 10 other bills, including the state's replacement school choice law, which again he did sign, and the veto of again LB 25, which was proposed by State Senator Justin Wayne. So again, hopefully we can speak to him about this on Monday. The governor said LB 25 was overly broad and would substantially erode decades old sovereign immunity protections for political subdivisions. Again, if you're not familiar with LB 25, this was a bill that would allow lawsuits against school districts or other political subdivisions if they fail to act on suspected claims of child sexual assault or abuse. Pillen said the proposal would also establish a new body of law and echo legislative opponents who said the law would increase taxpayer costs, such as property taxes, which we all know, as we've been talking about here on the show, is something that Governor Pillen is trying to decrease. So again, this is very interesting. Again, the bill would allow lawsuits against school districts or other political subdivisions. Not quite sure exactly what that entails. Again, as the governor says, overly broad. But again, that would have fallen under this bill if they fail to act on suspected claims of child sex assault or abuse. So, very interesting, and we'll kind of keep our eyes on this. Again, lawmakers voted on a 28-17 line to pass the bill, but again, it has been vetoed. So, to override the veto, they now need to get 30 votes, which will be two more than original. So, something
Mhm.
to look out for. Again, possibly in the special session coming up. So, yeah, other things to look out for. Speaking of things to look out for, again, we're still talking about what's going on with housing. Big shout out again to Mr. Hassani Lee for joining us yesterday. But that's public housing. Again, we're also talking about private housing, which has been an issue. Shout out to Flatwater Free Press for also dropping this article talking about Vinebrook, which I believe actually Chris Baby Boy Bolin has reported on as well. Again, Vinebrook Homes was an Ohio based real estate program or company, really, that has purchased again nearly 3,800 homes in St. Louis, Kansas City, and Omaha metro areas combined. The Flatwater Free Press's own investigation into Vinebrook showed that it didn't own a single home in Omaha in 2019, but by 2022 they bought about roughly 250 homes and was actually one of the largest landowners in the Omaha area. Since then, they have been actually dumping some of their properties, leaving renters and leaving tenants. Man, just hanging in the balance, to say the least. So again, definitely we continue talking about this as we look at not just OHA, but what's going on with housing in general in our community. Again, we're still in conversations with the Omaha Land Bank about some of the things that they're doing to open up the gates and the road paths towards housing. And this will be a continued conversation here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. But that pretty much does it for our lightning round. Just about 10 minutes left in this thing. Might be enough time for us to do do a little haps and get up out of here. What you thinking,
Man,
Paul B?
I think you might be right about that. Let's go ahead and get the haps happening, y'all.
What's the haps? What's happening? What's going down?
Hey.
Time for the haps. Time for us to talk about what's going on this weekend, and time for you to tell us what's happening too. Anything that's on your hearts and minds that you think is important for us to frequent, go to, or just some fun things that are happening around town that you might need to go decompress and go. What's the point in us being so active in trying to make some change if we're not? What are we fighting for? Can we fight for the
Yeah.
barbecue on Sunday with the fam? That's what I'm fighting for, is the barbecue on Sunday with the fam type of deal. So again, there's lots of things to talk about here, but also some things to really consider checking out. As a matter of fact, at the Benson Theater, the Benson Film Festival has happened. Man, it's really kind of grown in the last couple of years that this has been happening. We have an Omaha Film Festival, but this is the Benson Film Festival that's growing to be just as big.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, on Sunday they're going to be showing the film Divisible. The Visible is playing. This will be on the 28th at 3 p.m. So you can get your full pass for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for this film festival, or you can get your pass by the day and check it out. You can get your Sunday pass and go support Divisible as a film that's happening on the 28th over there at the Benson Theater. Go to bensontheater.org and get your tickets. Man, it's going to be fun. It's going to be real fun.
Yeah.
Kimra Snipes in the chat saying the Immortal Souls annual this weekend. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
it sounds like a good time to me.
social club kickback.
I love it. Let us know about that. Really want to hear about that for sure. Also what's going on around town. This is happening tomorrow, 13th annual Wombly Sapa Memorial Powwow gathering at the Lee and Helene Sapp Field House.
And you know.
I believe it's over there at UNO. Yep. So this is going down too. Shout out to our Native brothers and sisters who have powwows going on. Pretty much several major powwows happening in this region. The one at MCC, Metropolitan Community College, being a intertribal powwow that happens every year as well. So this is the first time I'm hearing about this gathering, but I can't wait to go check it out too. You know, I'm always down to go get my fried bread, tacos, and so on and so forth over there. Yeah, it's going down, man. It's always good to go get down with the powwow. So shout out to that tribe for putting that on over there at UNO. Also, we showed this a little earlier, May 14th. This is coming up. Mark your calendars because that's going to be vote day. And you see Brother Terrell McKinney is going to be, he's going for District 2. His second term as a senator, we really want to have him in there. This is for the people. Re-elect Terrell McKinney, not District 11.
Yep.
Re-elects Terrell McKinney, legislature District 11, and he's saying go donate to the cause. You know, this all costs money to do that. To put the materials out, let everybody see what's going on. You know, put it in people's face, remind them that they need to vote on the 14th of May. So that's what's going on. Paid for by People for Terrell McKinney. This is the fund that's going on too. I'm sure you can donate to that fund. So definitely check him out. And if you're a friend of this show, then you already know how to get a hold of Brother McKinney. Senator McKinney, put some respect on his name. District 11. We want him to come back. Shout out to him, and shout out to the reminder about where we're at in this time frame right now. It's pretty heavy. Pretty heavy. We're in primaries are coming up.
Yeah, man.
And it seems to be just as important as the general election. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Tis the season, man.
Can't forget it. April 27th, which is tomorrow, Senator McKinney is going to do a joint canvass with Ashley Spivey. They said that their territories kind of overlap, so it makes sense for them to kind of get together and do a joint canvassing situation. If you want to help them out too, you can always get a hold of them. I'm sure that they're using. They still need volunteers to help canvass and yard signs and the whole nine. But this is happening at 2311 North 24th Street in Omaha, 4:30 to 6:30. Again, this is happening tomorrow. Join Senator McKinney. and Ashley Spivey, candidate for LD 13. So this is 11 and 13 for a joint canvassing event to help them engage with voters ahead of the primary election on May 14th, 2024. So again, giving us more reminders that this is coming up on May 14th. It's going to be here before you know it. So definitely go show up at the situation that they're at. Always love to be out there and help support what it is they got going on as well. Love to see this team up too. I think that's we were worried about what's going to happen with Senator McKinney, Senator Wayne, as Senator Wayne is terming out. I love the team up.
Mm-hmm.
Love the team up if this goes down for sure.
Yeah, found out on Wednesday in our conversation that she's actually been teaming up with Senator McKinney this whole time since the beginning. Teamed up with him on the first bill he got passed, the hair bill. So
Man,
yeah, definitely looking forward to see what Sister Ashley and Brother McKinney, Senator Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name, can do.
I love it. Mama Guys in the chat says neighborhood cleanup tomorrow. You can join my neighborhood association at 5308 Hartman Avenue, Mount View Presbyterian Church. Shout out to Mama Guy for stepping up to the challenge of getting down with the neighborhood associations.
Yeah, man.
That's what's up. Appreciate that very much. Yeah, get down with that. Marlon Harrison said, I saw Ashley Spivey billboard on 60th and Ames yesterday. Yeah, she got the big one. She got a big one out there, too. That's what's up. Love it, love it. Tony Johnson's asking, curious what the feel from the street is on how North Omaha will respond to voting this season. So am I.
Mm-hmm.
Tony, he's also asking, is any word from Black Votes Matter effort on helping voting in the community? I haven't heard anything quite yet, aside from what Brother Preston Love said when he was on the show.
Yep.
But we'll definitely reach out and see if we can find more things as well. Also, man, you guys got to mark your calendar for this. I'm so excited about what's going on. Joy Fest gets down, first of all. Joy Fest gets down. Second of all, this time they're stepping up game, even bringing in Terrace Martin, the incomparable Terrace Martin is headlining for Juneteenth Joy Fest. Please go ahead and just look. June is going off. June is going down.
In a real way, man. Joe, Terrace.
Come on, man. There's some major heads out here. We're also going to do a kickback on June the 7th. We haven't talked about this quite yet, but yeah, start saving your money now because June's going down.
Man, yeah.
Definitely happening. So definitely check this out. Support Juneteenth Joy Fest. It's right there on the Deuce that this is all happening. Man, I can't wait to see Jay Crumb perform, man, and all these other performers they got going on. Plus, of course, Terrace Martin, who has ties to Omaha. You guys know the legendary Curly Martin, his father, who was the drummer. Legendary drummer here, but Terrace Martin has made a name for himself in a huge way. Everywhere, all the way around, putting Omaha on the map, North Omaha on the map, going around the world, educating people about North Omaha and the Deuce.
Man,
making albums with the elders, you know what I'm saying? Calvin Keys and Curly Martin, and respecting the legacies. Down brother. His father passed. Of course, Curly Martin passed a couple years ago. Terrace does not forget about North Omaha. He's back this summer. It's going down. I'm gonna check the chat real quick while this is up. Also, let's see. Terrace Bud Crawford signed for a fight. I did see that as well. I didn't put that up, but fight coming up on that. So stay tuned for some of that. As a matter of fact, I saw it on his page. He was promoting it on his page, so that's going down as well. Also, William King, man, this is happening on May 11th. Mark your calendars for this. Finesse 2 times going to be in the house. Yeah. 95.7 The Boss doing big things. First annual Mother's Day celebration. You know that The Boss is famous for the Father's Day celebrations. This is the first annual Mother's Day celebration for them, the first inaugural Mother's Day celebration. So shout out to 95.7 The Boss and William King for bringing out another heavy hitter. Finesse 2 times going to be in the house May 11th, Saturday at 7 p.m. on May 11th. So definitely check it out. Get your online tickets at etix.com. So going big time with the tickets. That's what's up.
There you go. Speaking
of the Father's Day celebration, Simone comedy show is happening June 16th. Celebration of fatherhood that 95.7 The Boss is putting down as well. Shout out to the comedian Simone, the incomparable Simone. I'm sorry, Samore. I'm saying her name all wrong. Some more comedy show. Appreciate that. They got special guests coming too. This is at the Admiral. So this is going to be over there in South Omaha, 13th Street, the old Sokol Auditorium.
Yeah, one of the original queens.
There you go. So yeah, man, they got some good stuff going on there. Celebration of fatherhood, of course. And we cannot forget also to start off June 1st, Midwest
Man,
African Conference is happening. Dr. Umar will be back at the Assembly of the Saints, 4224 North 24th Street in Omaha. Shout out to the Black Agenda Alliance for getting down, putting this on. Midwest Pan African Conference from 4 to 7 is happening on June the 1st, 2024. So, yeah, definitely definitely get your tickets for this. You know, it sold out last time Dr. Umar was in town.
man, packed.
Yeah, most definitely packed. Most definitely packed. I love it. I love it. So yeah, shout out to them. We'll talk to brother Kasim from the BAA on Monday and talk to him a little bit more about what's going on here with this event and some other stuff that he always comes on the show like, I got some news. I can't say it yet. And then he comes back and lets us know what's going on. So shout out to
Man,
brother Kasim. Yeah, in a real way. Also, this is also happening. I believe this is tomorrow. Trying to find it. Yeah, April 28th.
yeah,
So 2 days from now.
it's Sunday.
Beats and Sunday. Beats and Boutiques happening or at 10 Forward. I'd love to see the amalgamation of something that the black community is putting on. Shout out to Katie Rain and teaming up with the guys over there at 10 Forward, the brand new club in town on the Maple, just on the other side of 72nd. And it's the old flower joint, the old flower. There was a floral kind of business over there. I can't remember the name of it, but
Nursery.
it was a nursery. There you go. That's the 1040. I haven't been there yet. It's pretty state of the art club. It's happening. They got some pretty live DJs, some world class DJs that come through there. So shout out to Katie Rain for knowing where the future lies with club life and all the good stuff, and also donating to the Open Door Mission. So there's
Yeah,
a lot going on here. Yeah, behind Saul's Jewelry and Loan, right behind there.
yeah.
That's where 10 Forward is at.
DJ Ng Spence getting down.
Man, G Spence gets down. It's
Yeah,
one of my
man.
favorite DJs around. So yeah, it's going down. Beats and Boutiques. Want some fun? Want to see some fun stuff going down? Go ahead and check this out. Really appreciate her doing that as well, putting that down. So shout out to Katie Rain. We talked about we didn't talk about this yet, Joe. So this is
Yeah, man.
get your this is all coming up very fast. June 15th, man. This is really next month that all this is going down.
Couple
So
weeks.
yeah, Freedom Fest happening over at Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, featuring Joe, special guest Case. Of course, Angeline Thomas is probably gonna go blow everybody out of the water first.
Man,
Seems to happen a lot.
get Omaha'd.
You bring somebody in from out of town, Angeline Thomas be blowing them out of the water. You'd be like, okay, well, I've seen the main show. I'm going home now. Oh,
Man, seen all, seen all I came to see.
yeah. So shout out to Calvin Williams, who we had on just recently talking about what's going on with Freedom Fest. And of course, this is just the concert. Freedom Fest includes a whole day of hanging out and doing things with the kids.
Man,
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can get that washer and dryer. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I had the 1,000, to lay down on a washer dryer set yet. I might need to, win that and get it shipped down to the A. See what I can do.
Man, so the giveaway is happening. We got more information coming on this, and of course, we'll put that on Friends of First Sky Omaha. We're talking to him right now about doing a little campaign where we can kind of get more of the information out on this, because it's not just, this is not just a concert on the Haps. You know what I mean? This is
Oh yeah,
a whole day event. They got several things going on throughout the year. Shout out to Calvin Williams and all the growth of Freedom Tainment. And yeah, it's incredible what he's got done. We remember starting with us back in the day over at Mind and Soul, and we had who do we have out there?
Donnell.
Yeah, when he brought Donnell, he brought Donnell, and it was a super successful. Nobody thought that we can really have that much fun out there in the back of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation on the grounds.
Man,
We had a good old time.
yeah,
Good old time.
yeah.
So shout out to him keeping on doing the good work there for sure.
Had Johnny the Jet Rogers out there kicking it. Yeah,
Man.
it was a good time. It was a
We
good
had a
time.
good time. Speaking of Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, this is coming up in May 19th, a Sunday dinner, and May 22nd, Hall of Fame induction for Malcolm X over there at the malcolmxfoundation.org. Go get some information there on that. But the birthday celebration is happening this year as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see that they're stepping up game for the Malcolm X birthday celebration. Old heads tell me that back in the day, this used to be the thing.
Man,
They used to have a huge situation happening, 2-day party type of celebrations before. So this is what's up. Save the dates for the Sunday dinner, May 19th, May 22nd Hall of Fame induction for Malcolm X Memorial Foundation. Appreciate you guys very much for sticking with us here past 9 o'clock so we can get some of these things in. Seriously, mark your calendars down for some of these things. We got
Yeah,
you.
man.
We got to do it.
As Cameron says, can't say nothing going on in the O. It's a lot of things are going. So go outside, have you some fun. And yeah, definitely try to make it to that Malcolm X celebration, man. Big shout out to Senator McKinney, give him the official Malcolm X Day in the state.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out.
Yeah.
Skate Fest is going down today, actually. So this is happening. Seymour Smith, 6802 Harrison Street in Omaha. If you are so inclined, or you got some kids that are into it, man, come on down. This is a free event from 12 to 6. This is, like I said, going down. This is starting up. No, not today. That's 28th. So this is Sunday as well. Yep. So got someone to do some active stuff going on. There's going to be live art, live music, food trucks, vendors, all kinds of stuff going on. Product toss. They'll be tossing out T-shirts. Shout out to the Skate Fest cats for doing the good work as well, man. Representing
Big
in
time.
a big way, big time, man, big time. So that's
I think Aggie Kid will be out there on the 1s and 2s as well, man.
Oh.
Yeah, first guys on Aggie Kid, man, part of the fam, part of the squad, out there, setting the vibes.
Love it, love it, love it. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. It's 5 minutes past 9 o'clock. We're not going 3 hours today. I don't care what you say.
We touched on everything we wanted to talk about today, man. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you. Big shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling for coming through again. Definitely check out that article on Flatwater Free Press. We really just kind of touched the surface. He got into a lot of things in the article. There's a lot of data points. Yeah, he's doing the thing, man, as always. So definitely do yourselves a favor and check out that article in its entirety. And catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Guy Omaha in the morning. And without further ado, Paul B.
Yep.
Tween time. Take it away, man.
Man, appreciate you very much. Rome's Review says kick, push, skate, roll, bounce, skate. You got all the lyrics. Yeah, man, get down with the Skate Fest. Tony Johnson said when it comes to entertainment, we're good at promoting meetings and conversations, not so much same steps. I know we kind of, in HAPS, we definitely promote the meetings and conversations along with the entertainment events. But I got to say, we ain't good at the entertainment events either, bro. There's stuff that's going on. People find out last minute. Yeah. We got to find some kind of ecosystem for really getting people the information on what's happening and get it in front of their face, man. We trying with this what's the haps thing, but that's not complete either. We really need to try to find some kind of solution to and it feels like all the areas that we have that are kind of going away too. Like you could find out stuff from the reader before. We don't got the reader anymore.
Man,
somebody just told me Omaha World Herald used to be a place where you can go to and find out what's going on with entertainment. Can't really do that anymore there either. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Mark Manor. Go to Omaha Buzz when it comes to the music scene out here. We can got a lot of information on what's going on musically. But as far as everything else concerned, it's
what
tough.
About things like Skate Fest and theater and art and
Joy Fest and all the good stuff.
Right. It's a lot of things going on.
Yeah, so if you have any suggestions on how it is we can kind of get the word out on all these things, important information, important talks, important events to go to.
Yeah, not to mention they trying to tax digital ads, so it's getting hard out here.
Yep. Pops in the chat says another hour. No, Pops, we ain't doing it. He said another week of great shows. I appreciate that. Rome's Review says have a blessed weekend, everyone. Appreciate you very much on that. Also, I thought I saw Mama God said, have a great weekend. Hit like on your way out. Thank you for the reminder. Pop says, great show. Have a good weekend. Appreciate it very much. Tony Johnson says, create one-stop community calendar filtered by type of events.
Okay.
It's been done, brother. It's been done. We'll try it again. Yeah. What we're trying to do is find other people that have been doing it and combine efforts and have one central place. But we don't live in the world of one central place anymore. We live in the world of the phone in front of you and your algorithm that really only pertains to you. You know what I mean? We got to figure it out. We'll figure it out. Chad Chimers can pay membership to post. So it's a thought. It's a thought. Like I said, we'll try different iterations. We can definitely try this one as well and try to figure out how we can do that. But there's a lot to it. A lot of communication that needs to be between promoters and people that are doing things as well. It's such a complicated issue. We've been working on it for 3 years. We've been working on it for 6 years because we were trying to do this in mind and soul. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate your suggestions. We'll definitely take them in and figure out what we can do. Get this word out. The one thing about us, First Sky Omaha, we definitely are word of mouth entity all the way around. We've never done any actual promotion of this show. It's all been word of mouth. and as far as the action items and events and stuff like that, all word of mouth. Word of mouth seems to be the best way to get the word out around Omaha, but it's not the most complete way.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people get left out of the information. So we always take your suggestions on how we can better the haps for sure. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Shout out to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Shout out to our elders for allowing us to speak before you, and shout out to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. Thank you very much for all of your questions, your comments. Shout out to Chris Baby Boy Bowling for coming on through.
Boy.
Yeah, we really appreciate him as well, and also appreciate the conversations that you guys are having amongst each other. We try to navigate and curate a little bit the conversation so that we can all kind of get on the same page and so on. But when something is hot and heavy and you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, we encourage it. It's something we go back and check out. We encourage you to go back and check out the chat as well. It might be something that we can bring up and talk in future shows. So if you miss any parts of these shows, please go back to Facebook and YouTube and also check out all the chats on both of those platforms when you get a chance as well. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. It is the weekend. Take care of yourselves. Watch out. There's the weather alert today all the way till tomorrow afternoon. So watch out for the tornadoes tonight if it comes through. And, stay dry. Check on your loved ones. A lot of people lost power yesterday because of the storms, thousand outages. So, charge up your batteries and do all the things you got to do for that in order to make sure that you're going to be okay through whatever storm is coming. And also take care of yourselves. Try to come out, try to have a little self-care and go out and do something fun as well.
That part.
So, with that said, man, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys take care of yourselves. Peace.
Peace.
By the way, Van Glorious, this is protected by the red, the black,
I'm going to play now, but
and the green.
in the green.